You are back. You have made it back. Welcome back to our second installment of our Make Save Grow webinar series. We're so happy that you're here. And we really appreciate your patience for last week. So, we're down here in Atlanta. We had a little snow, a little ice last Wednesday, so we had to postpone. But we are back on track. So tonight, making money tonight. Next Wednesday, we're going to talk about saving money. And then our fourth and final installment of our four-part webinar series on growing money, that's going to be on Wednesday, February the 7th. And then you have met your commitment. You have fulfilled, what you said you were going to do for yourself kicking off this year. So again, we're happy that you're here. And we're just going to jump right into making more money tonight. So, I'm not clicking. All right, y'all, we're having a little technical difficulty over here. So let me just go over a little bit of housekeeping with y'all tonight. This is for you. This experience is completely designed for you. So we expect you to communicate with us. We want your questions. We want your comments. We want to be able to interact with you. So we have a live chat. So now if you are on your cell phone, I want you to select the live chat bar at the bottom of your screen. That way you can get engaged with us. So now for those of you guys on your desktop, no problem at all. The chat box is going to be located on the top right of your screen next to the video, okay? But please make sure you cannot be in full screen mode. You cannot be in full screen mode if you are going to chat with us. So if any of you are having any technical difficulties, we have an email for you. We want you to go to neverbrokenation@gmail.com. People, we have Chris, we have Alicia that are on standby to help you with any issues you're having. Sound, you can't see anything, we're definitely here to help you. So now we're really excited about something new this week. I know a lot of the TV shows, they do like this after show for y'all, because y'all had so many questions last week, we couldn't get to all of them. So we know we can't get to all of the questions. We're going to get through as many of them as we can. So what we're going to do is when we end up here, when we wrap up, we're going to go over to Facebook and Instagram Live. So we're going to tell you exactly what time. We're going to need about 10 or 15 minutes to get set up and situated. And then we're going to continue the conversation. But please send us your questions, because we're only answering your questions on Facebook and Instagram Live. We're not answering anyone else's. So please send them over to us. Brandy is manning our live chat tonight, and we want all your questions on making money. So y'all know we did fundamentals last week. And for those of you who couldn't make it, I'm just going to do a really quick recap. I know most of us think making more money is just going to solve all of our problems, but I promise you, that's not the answer. People in here shaking their heads like, nope, it's not enough. So if you did not do your fundamentals pre-work, we're not going to call it homework, it was pre-work. If you didn't have a chance to do it, I just need you to commit a time where you're actually going to be able to get focused and get that done. Because the reality is, you still need to know where you are financially. You have to know exactly where you are financially. It's kind of like going on a trip. If you're trying to go to California, are you starting in Atlanta? Are you starting in Texas? Are you starting in Baltimore? Like, we have to face the reality of where we are financially. And it might be better than what we think. Your credit score, and I need to know your commitment or your plan to actually getting out of debt. So do not skip the fundamentals at all. So that was that 4-page sheet that we sent y'all with the first email. All of you got it. But again, at a minimum, commit some time to actually getting that done. So please don't skip that step. So now we're getting ready to get focused on make, but a little bit about me. Again, Janai Thornton. And I'm excited tonight because I'm not just coming today as, part of the Never Broke Nation or as the co-host of Money Monday on the Willie Moore Jr. show. I can actually talk to y'all tonight as an entrepreneur. So I am so excited about the fact that I get to share my 22-year journey as an entrepreneur. And I know I wanted the same thing that you wanted. I wanted more money, but I think just as important as money, if not more important, was I really was looking for freedom. I was trying to get that flexibility because at that time, our kids were only 2 and 6. And I'm like, this isn't working for me. I have got to do something different. And so I just took the time to assess what I was good at, what my skills were, and what I could do right away. I was not going back to school. I wasn't spending any more money. Like, what could I do to live the life that I really, really, really wanted and needed to live? And that's what making more money is about. Money is supposed to give you freedom and choice. That's what it's a tool. It's nothing but a tool. So I'm happy to share my journey with you. So, of course, I have to introduce you again to the Never Broke Nation. So again, never broke. It is a commitment. It's not a saying, it's a commitment. And we are committed to making sure all of you are going to make, save, and grow your money. And so we have an amazing team: Chris Hollis, Brandy Hills, Alicia Tillman, my husband David, who's not in the picture, where since the end of 2016, we have been focused on coming to you with a different message and a different way to talk about money, different way to learn about money, a different way to share information about money. And a lot of that has been through social media. So we worked really hard on creating great videos, great posts for y'all, but really video content. So I want to make sure that y'all are engaged with us, that you're following us. But like last session, the fundamental session, we were showing y'all one of our videos. We want to take a minute and show you some of our work that we created probably a little bit more than a year ago. All right, so I know y'all are telling me that y'all didn't have any sound for the video. So we are working on that. We're sorry about that, having a slight technical difficulty today. But again, we want y'all to follow us. We want y'all to follow us at Never Broke Nation. And that's at Janai Thornton. That's on Instagram and on Facebook. And please, please, please subscribe to our channel as well, because we have really, really good content for you. And we want you to be able to take advantage of the content that we have. All right, so now we're going to talk about what we're going to cover today. So I'm excited because we've got this kind of broken up into a couple of different sections. So first section that we're going to cover is there is a group of us who we have no idea how we want to make extra money. We know we want it, we know that we need it, but we haven't figured out what our new business opportunity, what our new consulting gig is. We're not sure. No idea at all. So we're going to cover a few things for y'all tonight. First is the 80-20 rule, why multiple streams of income are important, different types of income, and of course, we got to talk about this whole side gigs, side hustle phenomena that's going on. So we got this whole section for y'all who are really just getting started. And for those of you who have already started, and started really just means either you got your business up and going, or maybe you committed to the idea and you kind of have an idea of where you want to go. So you're a little further ahead. So for you guys, we're going to talk about business setup, funding your business, got to have some money to start that business. Some of the biggest mistakes we've seen people make when they begin to make more money and grow their business. So we're going to go over all of that. So listen, no matter where you are, I promise you there's something in both sections for all of you, okay? So we are going to get going. So again, we want to hear from you. Brandy is manning all of our chat, all of our questions, our social media. So please let us know what you got going on. So remember, in order to chat with us, if you are on your desktop, you're going to have to come out of full screen mode in order for you to be able to let us know what your comments and your questions are. All right? All right. So for those of you who have not started yet at all, if you have not started at all, um, my husband and I, David, we were thinking about one of our really good friends who is a school teacher in the Atlanta area, has been for like 20 years. She has done a phenomenal job. And when David talked to her recently, she was saying how to make extra money, she's a single parent, 3 kids, getting a part-time job in retail. And so David's like, why would you do that? Like, you got a degree, you got access. Why wouldn't you tutor? Why wouldn't you start another program for kids? Why wouldn't you do the other things that you could do? And it's like, it never even occurred to her. It never even occurred to her. So I think a lot of times with us, when it comes to making more money really is about paying attention differently. Because we get into these routines, we're going back and forth to work. We got our personal lives. We're involved in a community. We are such robots. We are such this, set schedule that you don't even pay attention what's going on around you. And that's when you begin to pay attention, when you begin to notice, when you begin to ask questions, why are they making money? What do they have going on? What can I do to get involved with this opportunity? There's so many things, but again, we're just going through life. We're not paying attention. So really the first part is to begin to start paying attention. So what we gave you guys to prepare for this Make session, our second session in the series, everybody should have got this Make questionnaire. And what this is really just an opportunity for you to kind of stop and reflect and kind of get your thoughts together, because a lot of times with making money, we just want to get started. Like, we just want to go. But how much do you need to make? How much do you want to make? How much time do you have available? What days are you available? What are you really good at? How much are you willing to invest to get started? And so those are the things that we need you to do this first step first. We have to begin to do this first step first. We have to do this questionnaire, and we're going to have to really kind of get our footing so we can see exactly where we are. So please don't rush through this step. It's kind of like the fundamentals. Kind of get your head together so you can figure out what you're going to be able to do so you can make the right first step. So let's kind of get into the numbers. Here's some stats for y'all. All right. So it says 44 million Americans have a side gig or hustle now. And I remember there was a time all you needed was your regular job. All you wanted was the one job. So some of us are in a position even have a choice but to have multiple sources of income. And some of us have figured out, wow, I can do this and that. A gig economy, a side hustle is just a commitment to and, not or anymore. Another stat for you, it says, according to the census data, more than 40% of entrepreneurs start their business with under $5,000. To know that, because we need you to know it does not take thousands of dollars to get started. I stand before you as a business owner. I think maybe to start, $1,000 I spent to start, maybe. The only thing I needed, I had to buy a computer. I didn't even buy a desk. I bought a table, and that was it. Okay, that's all I did to get started. Enough money, I didn't even have cash to do that. So I used a credit card to be able to get this computer, but that's it. So please don't feel discouraged that you don't have all these thousands of dollars. You can still get ready to go. All right, and the last statistic, we've all heard this a million times. 8 out of 10 businesses, or 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs, their businesses fail within the first 18 months. And I think I could tell you why. And the reality is, number one, listen, we got to understand it is going to take you longer than what you think. We haven't prepared. We haven't saved the money. We haven't done the prep work. We want to just go. And you have to be able to withstand the time. So I want you to not skip any of the steps. And I don't want you to use this information and be worried or afraid. But what I want you to do is use it to equip you so you do not make the exact same mistakes. We're not going to waste any time making the same mistakes. So let's talk about this 80-20 rule, because people are like, what the heck? What does that mean? And this is something that my husband David really wanted to make sure we put in here, because all of us think, all we got to do is work harder. We're going to work more, and the money's going to start falling out the sky. And I promise you, money is 80% mental or psychological, and it's 20% work. And I see it every day at work, because that's one thing about working with people who are very wealthy. They expect to be that way. Like, they just know, like, it's not a big deal. I can make $100,000 a day. I can make $100,000 a year. And I think a lot of us aren't even aware of how do we really feel mentally, emotionally, and psychologically about money. And so that's what keeps us. You can work, I promise you, you can work 100 hours a week. You're going to make more money. You have got to be in the mental space to know that you can and to receive. You've got to do the mental work too. So do not, and I need you to start paying attention to how you're feeling and what you think about money, what your family experience has been about money. Some of our families, some of us don't even know people in our families who's ever made $100,000 or $500,000 a year. And it's funny, I was telling the story, we have a client, and we were doing some planning for 2018. And I was letting him know what his overhead, what was going to cost for him to live. Now, this is a person very good with money. All of his properties, houses, everything is paid off. And I said, well, to get you through the year, it's going to take about $1.2 million just to get you through the year. And he was like, okay. So I'm like, oh, you're okay with that? He's like, oh, that's fine. Like, it was no big deal. And some of us, if we knew that it took us $120,000 to get through the year, we wouldn't know what to do. So I want you to start working on that mindset. All right, let's get that, build up that muscle. So the reality is, we all know, we've heard this a million times, we have to have multiple streams of income. So I'm curious, what do y'all think? How many streams of income does the average millionaire have? We've talked about this before. Anybody have any ideas in the studio? Anybody here? Any guesses? So we got 3. Someone said 3. Any other guesses out here? All right, our producer Kyle has the right answer. It is actually 7. Yeah. So the average millionaire has 7. And when I say 7, I mean 7 separate, distinct sources of income. 7. So what does that mean? So that means maybe you, again, we work in the entertainment industry. So maybe we have an artist who performs, they do shows. Then maybe they have an outside business. Maybe they own some real estate. Maybe they get paid to do like a speaking engagement. And but they can't be connected. They have to be 7 separate, distinct sources of income. And the cool thing is, when you have 7 or more than one, you can give each source of income a job. So maybe this main source of income I use to live and pay my bills. Then I have this other source of income I use to save. Maybe I have this other source of income for fun. With us, you know what we're trying to do? We're trying to live our whole life. We're trying to accomplish everything off of this one pie. Hard to do. I'm not saying you can't, but it would be a lot easier if you had income. Maybe you won't have 7, but maybe you could have 2. Maybe you could have 3. I promise you it's going to change your life. And there's really only 2 types of income, passive and active. So active means you are materially participating, like you are working in it every single day. And so passive means it's money you make, but you're not materially involved. This is not the main thing that you do. So a lot of times you'll hear people say, like, real estate, owning rental properties. Maybe you have a job, but maybe you own some property on the side. That thing that you do on the side, That is really kind of your passive income. So you got to decide, are you working on your passive or your active income side? But we got to get these multiple sources of income coming in. So we all know we have this whole side gig economy. I can't believe all the opportunities that are available now to make money from home too. You don't even have to leave home to make money, which is crazy. And you're talking about a person. I remember the day that my husband said, because I built my business out of my house, where he was like, because I've been home the whole time, because my goal was to be able to stay home and be with my kids. And so when my business got to the point was growing too much, my son was also in high school. He was like, okay, it's time for you to go now. But I had accomplished my goal. And again, it was that whole home-based business. So now I want Brandy, who is part of our Never Broke Nation team, to kind of let us know about her whole side gig, side hustle experience. Because this girl can't do nothing else. She can bring some money in for real.
So, yes, this is Brandy, and I'm sharing testimony about side hustles because, of course, we're talking about side gigs right now. And my friends like to refer to me as the side hustle queen. And I guess I kind of earned that title because I have always had multiple, but I've always had at least 2 or 3 jobs. And so in undergrad, I would go to school in the morning, and then I would go to work at a bank, and then I would work at a club until 2 a.m. Every day of the week, and get up and do it over again. And so I was pretty much operating off of 4 hours of sleep. And at that time, I'm in my early 20s. I'm young, full of energy. So, of course, I was asleep. I started my career. I was older. I realized I can't keep this up. I was burnt out. So I had to spend a little time with myself and determine what can I do on the side to continue to make this supplemental income, but where I can name my own hours, 12 hours or more every day. And I had to think about things that I was either passionate about or things that I had a skill set in. So I was already doing what I pretty much was passionate about in my 9 to 5, which is accounting. But I'm like, what skill sets do I have? So I'm like, okay, I've been doing this bartending thing for a while. Maybe I can make a business out of bartending. I can bartend at weddings, birthday parties, different events like that. So that's what I set out to do. I came up with a business name, a logo, had some business cards made, and I started to promote myself everywhere I went. Um, got a few clients, brought those cards to those events, and just started to kind of build up my clientele. What I will say is I didn't handle it properly when I first started it, as far as income from my personal income, making sure I was registered with the state, things like that that are very important when you're starting a side hustle. I'm not going to get too much into that because that's what Janai is going to talk about next. But what I did want to share with you all was one of the sources that I used to build up that clientele, which is a site called Thumbtack. And that's THUMBK, thumbtack.com. And this is a good source for those of you who either have already started a business or some of you who may want to do something on the side, but you're just not sure what you're good at, like what you are passionate about, or, you know, what you could do. I know Janai shared some on the board, Amazon Flex, things like that. But on Thumbtack, you will see everything from personal trainers to dance instructors, pet walkers, and house cleaners. So definitely check that site out. But I'm going to hand it back to Janai so she can tell you how to properly start this business once you decide the what.
And I can say one thing that I have really appreciated and learned a lot working with Brandy is just how she has done a good job of staying current and just really being open. Like, she is so committed to absolutely positively having more than one source of income. So I admire it, but I understand the freedom that it gives her life too. So again, she mentioned Thumbtack. So please check that out. And please note that as a source. So on the screen, you're going to see, we have Amazon and U-Haul and TaskRabbit. We're not endorsing anybody in particular. There are tons of lists, full lists out here on Google where you can find some work from home opportunities or side gig opportunities. We just need you to take the time and do your research, though. You got to vet these companies. So here's some warning signs. First of all, any opportunity that you're looking at that has like a Yahoo or Gmail email address, proceed with caution. Proceed with caution. If they have a company website, but there is no contact information, like you can't pick up the phone and you can't call somebody, that's another thing that I want you to pay attention to. That's a warning sign. And then you can always check out a company too. You can vet a company. So we have the betterbusinessbureau.org, mission ftc.gov, and fraud.org. These are all websites. Y'all can type in company names and see, because you have all these work at home opportunities. Pay this, sign up for this. Please do your research before you do anything. I want you to commit to doing the research, because there's a lot of horror stories out there, but you'll be able to find that out if you take the time and do your research. All right? So what are y'all supposed to do now? What are you going to do now? Right now, I want you to make the commitment to putting forth the time to putting in and doing the work. Brandy talked about doing the work. She started paying attention differently. When are you going to take some time and vet some opportunities out? I want you to literally put that in that money calendar that we talked about in our last session. Promise you, multiple streams of income is going to change your life. It is absolutely going to change your life. So I definitely want you to do that. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to be intentional about paying attention to your beliefs about money. Like when you notice, what do you say? I can't afford, I can't do. I want y'all to really start paying attention to that, okay? So I know y'all got some questions. So Brandy, tell me, what are some of the people out here asking us?
Whitney just shared something which is very interesting. I said, do you know about any scams you can share with us? Right. And she said, the scam of having to pay for work. You should never have to pay for work, correct?
Right. And Whitney, 100% correct. If you are looking at some of these online opportunities, they want to have some sort of registration fee, sign up fee. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. You should not have to spend money to make money. Now, in certain circumstances, you might have to get a background check, but for most of these opportunities, it doesn't require it. Please do not spend money. Any other questions from folks out there?
MD Girl 1975 said, what if you don't want to start a business, but want to use that income to get debt free?
Okay, so it doesn't mean you have to start a business. It just means you want to have an additional source of income, because you got to start looking at yourself like you are a business. You don't have to have an employee. You don't have to have an office. Thing you want out of your house. But I want you to begin to think about yourself differently, and don't feel like you have to overcommit. Everyone's not meant to own a big company, but I promise you, you are designed to have more than one source of income. Just focus on what you can, and don't worry about this whole big business thing. All right, well, thank y'all for the questions. We want y'all to keep sending them to us. So listen, now we're going to transition to you guys who have made the decision. Y'all decided what y'all want to do. You've either decided, or you may have already started doing this new opportunity, your contractor, your consultant opportunity, your side hustle, gig, business, whatever it is. So now we want to share a few things with you. So we focused on the things that y'all ask us the most. What type of company should I be? Do I need a tax ID number? How do I set it up? So we're going to spend a little time on kind of like this business formation 101. All right, so entity type, and this is important, and this even relates to y'all who have no goal or intention on being a business. You still may need to set up a separate company separate from yourself. So let's go over the basic entity types. Number one, this is the easiest. This is what's called a sole proprietorship. This is super easy. And all this means is you're a sole proprietor. So you don't even get a separate tax ID number. You're going to use your own Social Security number. And for tax purposes, super easy. Only thing you're going to do is you're going to file what is called Schedule C. You're going to file Schedule C with your Form 1040. So very easy. You can go to, let me tell you where to go to look for that Schedule C. You're going to go one place, irs.gov. And I want you to take a look at the form. So that way you can kind of get familiar to it. I promise you, y'all use TurboTax or something, you can file this by yourself. You can file this by yourself. Super easy to do, all right? Next entity type, LLC, which is nothing but a limited liability company. So let me just give y'all this. We're not going to be giving you this perspective from a legal perspective at all. This is 100% accounting. So we're not lawyers. So we're going to stay away from the legal part of this. But I'm going to explain to you from an accounting or money perspective, which entity does what or means what. So of all the corporations, the LLC is definitely the easiest one to set up. But think about it this way. If you are an LLC, you're kind of like a sole proprietor. You're going to file Schedule C on your personal 1040 form. That's it. That's all you need to know for tax purposes. But the difference is you are going to have a separate tax ID number. Very, very easy for you. Now, the next one, the S Corp. You know what the S stands for? What does S in S Corp stand for? Y'all gonna be disappointed on this one. Just stands for small. This stands for small. And what it means, S Corp, you're a small corporation if you have 200 or fewer owners. And now the interesting thing about the S Corp, this is what the IRS calls a pass-through entity. S Corp files a separate tax return. It has its own tax return. It's called a Form 1040-S, but it doesn't pay any tax though. So if any net income or net loss, you're actually going to pick that up on your own personal tax return. So that's what the S Corp is. Now, when your business begins to start making some money, you're putting yourself on payroll, you're doing better. S Corp typically is my preferred entity choice. Okay. All right, so last one, now we're going to talk about is partnership. There are other ones. And the last one is partnership. And partnership means you're going to have 2 or more owners. You know, you kind of got to watch that partnership game, you know. That's why a lot of businesses end up ending over being in a partnership. Doesn't always go well, but a partnership is like an S Corp. It is a pass-through entity. So if you're a partnership, you're going to file what is called Form 1065. Now, partnership doesn't pay any tax either. Any net income or net loss, you're going to pick it up on your own personal tax return. So I know y'all got some questions about these entities. We try to kind of keep it high level in the main points, but I definitely want you to send us our questions. I'm going to go through a couple more points, and then I'm going to take your entity questions. So you're going to pick your entity, then more than likely you're going to get your own EIN, which is nothing more than like a Social Security number for a business. So this is your employer identification number. And I think you need to have one, whether you have employees or not, because what you want to do is this is how you're going to begin to separate you personally from this business income that you have coming in, even if it's just you, So this is getting an EIN is super easy. You're going to go to irs.gov. You're going to complete the form SS4, right? It's going to take you less than 5 minutes to do it, literally. You can get your number just like that. And you absolutely need to, don't skip the step. You definitely want to do this. 5 minutes and it's free. The last part of this setting up your business is incorporating your business. And we're really not going to spend any time on that because Y'all are here from Maryland and Texas and Florida, North and South Carolina. You're from all over the country, and every single state is different. But nowadays, I don't think you need a lawyer to do that for you anymore. If you go to your Secretary of State, you go to the website, it'll teach you what to do. It'll give you examples of what to do. You can go to LegalZoom and get the forms that you need. Don't spend any money on doing that. There was a time you had to have a lawyer do that for you, but you really don't need to do that anymore. Okay? So now that we've kind of given you this kind of business entity setup, now what's your next step? So if you haven't set up a company, now you need to decide what entity type is best for you. The other thing is, what a lot of people don't know, if you already have picked an entity type, you can switch. Proprietor, you can become an LLC. If you are an LLC, you can become an S Corp. So you want to do what's best for you based on where you are with your business. I want you to make that decision. The other thing I need you to do is this. I need you to know what forms you have to file for tax purposes, even if you're not going to do it yourself. Make sure that you know how to do that. So I know we have some entity type questions for real. Brandy, what are people asking us out there?
Whitney asked, how often should you file taxes when you have an LLC?
Okay, so Whitney, when you have an LLC, if you are the only owner, if you're the only member, you're going to file your taxes once a year. So when you file your personal tax return, that's when you're going to file, and you're going to include all your information on what I call that Schedule C. So again, once a year only. Only other time you really file taxes more than that is if you can file payroll taxes more than that, but you're not going to file income taxes more than that. All right, Brandy, I know you got to have at least one more question out there.
We have one more question. Kawano says, if you have an EIN for your business from the IRS, but haven't did anything with the business yet, do I have to do the ENT? Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have to do the entity from once I'm ready to put in work for the business? Okay. Entity form. I'm sorry. Got it.
Entity form. Okay. So even if you've had an EIN number for a while, that's okay, because once you get it, it belongs to you. It absolutely belongs to you. So now when you got the EIN, you told them what type of entity you are, though. So you already told them if you're an LLC. You're telling them if you're a sole proprietor. You're letting people know what you are. So if you're going to make a change to your entity type, you actually have to file that with the IRS. You're definitely going to do that. So again, remember, sole proprietorship, LLC, S Corp, and partnership. Those are the main ones that y'all really need to focus on. Those are the main ones. All right. So this is my favorite section. Everything we're telling y'all tonight is important, but I promise you, we will save y'all thousands of dollars, hours, weeks, and months of time if you pay attention to what we have experienced being accountants, because that's the thing, when you're an accountant, you get to see how everyone's money is being managed or handled. We can save you tons of money and time if you all don't do any of this stuff. So we have about 8 of them. So I'm gonna go through them kind of quickly for time. But please, again, if you have any questions or comments, we definitely would love to hear from you. All right, number 1, not separating your personal and business bank account and credit cards. Listen, people, got some people in here nodding their head. Yep, that's me. So even if you don't have a business bank account, I need you to have 2 separate personal accounts. And I need you to be disciplined. If you need to pay a personal bill, you transfer the money from your business account over to your personal account and you pay your bills out of there. You've got to keep it separate. You are not your business. How else are you going to know what came in, what went out, and it's all mixed together? You'll never know how you're doing. All right, so don't do that, or stop doing that. You need to use an accounting software. So think about this. If you're running a household or a business, and if I said to you, Well, how much did you spend on cell phone last year total? How much you spend on gas? How much you spend on travel? How much you spend on your gas or light bill? You should be able to tell me just like this. You shouldn't have to do any math. And so when you are running a business, even if you're a contractor consultant, you can't wait until you get your taxes done to do that work. Because now it's too late. You can't make any changes. You can't change your behavior, or you can't even pat yourself on the back and say, you know, I did a really good job. All right, next. Not paying down debt before you actually start your business. I promise you, you're going to want as much wiggle room as possible. Kai, my producer, is here nodding his head like, yep, that's me. You have got to prepare because you're going to have to spend money to make money. Y'all are going to have to get out of that debt. So be committed to paying that debt down. All right. Not creating a business personal budget. What does it cost for you to live and to run your business? Y'all just living. Y'all have no way of saying, this is what I've committed to each expense category. So remember, a budget is a way to pay attention. It is not punishment. It's just a way to pay attention. Okay, not having a business savings account. I swear to you, this is the thing that I should have done years earlier. If you have a business, we talked about this on the Willie Moore Jr. show on Monday. If you have a business, I want you to open a business savings account. Every single time you make money from your business, I want you to put a certain amount in that business savings account. A business has to save and pay itself first, just like you do. Because now, if you hit a bump in the road, you got some money set to the side. We're so used to it coming in and then we just spend all of it. I want you to get committed to saving some. If I would have done that earlier. Next one, owners not paying themselves a set amount every week or month. All right, people, you have to, just like if you are on payroll at your job, even if you have a job, you can't just be going in there transferring money out whenever you feel like it. You cannot do that, all right? So I need you to have a set amount that you're going to pay yourself and a set frequency. This is just not your extra money to blow and spend the way that you want to. All right, owners not setting money aside for taxes. Payroll taxes is the #1 reason why small business owners get in trouble. You have got to set money aside. All that money you're making is not yours. The government wants their piece. The IRS has bills to pay too, all right? So you got to set money to the side. And last, owners not prepared for it to take longer or cost more to start and run their business. We all think, because we have a great idea out the gate, it's going to be perfect. It always takes longer. It always costs more. Now, the one thing that's not on the list, I've noticed people do wrong is a lot of us, as soon as we start making extra money, our lifestyle changes. Like, so we're doing better. So now we start spending more money. I got someone in here raising their hand saying, that's me. When people ask me what's the best financial decision you've ever made, one of the best David and I ever made was when we started to make money, we did not move. We didn't do anything for 5 years. For 5 years, we stayed in our little teeny tiny house. We didn't upgrade, like we did not do anything. And that gave us an opportunity to accumulate. And so what I see small business owners doing, they start making more money and then their life upgrades. The car changes, their house changes. Don't do that right away. I want you to wait before you do it. Please, please wait, all right? So now we were talking about keeping up with money because remember, this is not a hobby. We're doing this because we want to make more money. It's not just for fun. So here are a few recommendations for y'all on how to keep up with the money. Here's some software recommendations. So we are a little biased and partial. We use QuickBooks. Personally, we use it for all of our clients. Designed for people who are not accountants. What's really cool about QuickBooks is the online version, the super fancy one is $25 a month. Low is like $10 to $12 a month. I think the mid-range one is about $17 a month. So you can afford the investment. So, but here are a few that are good, you know, common in the marketplace. Only thing is Xero is a little bit more sophisticated. I probably wouldn't suggest that one, but please, I want y'all to check some out. So things that people are should do right now as we're getting ready to really focus on knowing, what we need to do differently. And so one thing that I want you to commit to now is deciding what system are you going to use to keep up with your extra business income and expense. You need to commit to that. Hopefully it's going to be software. Excel is a little old school, people. We should not be using that anymore. To that right now, what are you going to do? And then I want you to research and pick that software out. All right, Brandy. So what questions people have for us out there?
Claudia said, is there anything we need to do for a logo or business name to secure that name legal-wise?
Okay. So probably so legally, yes. But again, we're not going to give any legal advice today because we're not lawyers. But there's a type of attorney, they're called the IP, intellectual property attorney. They can help you do that. It's not cheap though. You're gonna make an investment. You may not want to do that out the door. You might not want to do that out the door, but again, IP, intellectual property attorney. But you can find out what they'll charge you to get that stuff done. What'd you say? You can register your own name. Now, for someone in the audience just asked, can you register your own name? Yes, each state has a site that you can go to. Now, that is only going to cover you in your state. That is not going to cover you nationwide, though. So if you're going to be trying to sell something nationwide, that means you're only protecting that name in your particular state only. All right, any other money questions?
Yeah, I think you answered Erica's question about examples of accounting software, but we also heard from Whitney who says, how do you recommend keeping up with mileage for a business?
Okay. There are actually some really good apps for that now. I mean, they run commercials on YouTube all the time for mileage apps. So I want you to find a tool. That old school way of writing stuff down, we can't do that anymore. So I want you to find an app. Just type that in, do a search on that, but find one that is either free or very inexpensive, or one that's going to be really, really easy to use. But please don't do it the old school way of writing it down. Way too much work. All right, so I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit because we need to talk about funding business. We need to talk about some career stuff. So we're getting ready to kind of transition out. I want to be able to wrap y'all up by 9 o'clock so we can go into our Q&A session afterwards. All right, funding your business. So for us small business owners, there are really 3 primary ways: credit cards, micro lenders, and then something called nonprofit lenders. So credit cards, almost 60% of small businesses use credit cards to finance their businesses. Because a lot of us, we're not going to get a loan, because if you go to the bank to get a loan, they want something called collateral. A lot of us don't have it. Listen, people at the bank need to know that they're going to get paid back. That's the only reason why they lend us money. So protect your credit with your life, all right? And put yourself in a position to get multiple credit cards or be able to extend the limit. But I want you to keep your personal business credit card spending completely separate. We got to keep it separate. Oh, also one thing, beware. If you are using credit cards to fund your personal life as you are building this business, you are headed down the road of trouble. They are not designed to fund your lifestyle. So please watch out for that. So now micro lenders, this is an interesting concept. Now these are people who, or companies rather, who give out micro, which means small loans. So anybody have any idea kind of the average size loan micro lenders give? Any ideas, any guesses? Someone said 50,000. That's actually the high end. The average loan is really about $16,000. So that's average. The high end of that is 50. So they normally never give loans more than that, but normally about here. So this is for those of us who don't need a lot of capital to get started. We don't need a lot of capital. So here's some great resources for you. First one listed, SBA, Small Business Administration. Please check them out for funding. And they actually do. They give micro loans. People think that you only can get $100,000, $200,000 from them. You can get smaller amounts. But you have Lift Fund, Prosper, the Graham America, Zopa, you can check out all of those as possibilities. Now you're gonna wanna check out a few because requirements, but again, if you need some extra funding, this might be an option for you. Now, for the nonprofit lenders, there are several of those as well. Kiva US, Business Centers for New Americans, those are also nonprofit organizations. Now, what's really good about those is they actually generally have more favorable terms. So they're going to charge you lower interest. So you definitely want to be able to check those out. You want to do that. So before we transition out of this section, I just want to spend a minute on SBA, the Small Business Administration. Please go to their website. And not only that, I want you to go to the local SBA office in your area. It is incredible how many classes you can take for free. Like, you don't have to pay for anything. The training that you can get, the exposure that you can get, it is insane what they offer. So check them out online, but please go to your local office. Again, they are a tremendous resource, but I think they are really, really, really underutilized. So put that on your to-do list. Please add that to your list. So speaking of to-do list, what do we want y'all to do now? I want y'all to commit to checking out the SBA. Because we don't want to hustle. We want to be a real business owner here. All right? So any questions from folks on this area, Brandy?
Yes, Erica said in regards to the lenders you discussed, do they typically have high interest rates?
Well, that's why you're going to have to do a little bit of research yourself, because the rates are going to vary. But we have to understand rates a lot of times. Our credit has significant impact on the rates that we get charged. So we can both be coming for the same amount of money, and depending on who has better credit and who actually has more assets, the one who is in that particular situation more than likely is going to get charged a lower interest rate. But I want you to do your due diligence, do your homework, and check it out. One more question.
Okay, Whitney asked, do you have to have a certain amount of income already to qualify?
That's a really good question. And that's also going to depend upon the lender too. Because a lot of times micro lenders, they're designed to help us get started. They're designed to help us get started. So I'm sure they're going to want to see what your business plan is. What has been your skin in the game? A lot of times I see people who want people to give them money, but they haven't invested any money themselves. You're going to have to show and prove that skin in the game first. All right? All right, so this is our last section. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to get ready to wind up so we can go over to our Facebook and Instagram Live, okay? So career moves. Uh-oh, what did I do? All right. So, one thing that I want all of us to think about is, that saying, the grass is always greener on the other side, but it isn't always true. So I want you to look at where you work. Where are you at? And because, for a lot of us, there's tremendous opportunity right where you are. But again, we're in this routine. We are absolutely in this routine. So as a business owner, I think about it too. I would love for my people to say, hey, Janai, have you thought about this? Here's an opportunity. Maybe we can partner on this. There's some opportunity here. So please make yourself invaluable where you are. We as business owners, we definitely want to make sure that we get your input. We want to know what you guys think, what you all feel, because you have a different perspective. Know how to ask for a raise. Know how to get more benefits, because it's not always about cash. Maybe you want them to pay more towards your benefits. Maybe you want them to match your 401k. Like, there's so many other things. Maybe you want more vacation time. Maybe you want more overtime. But again, there's so many possibilities for you. There's so many possibilities for you. Okay? So again, don't overlook your opportunity where you are at work. I want you to do, I want you to pay attention very differently where you are, where you spend the majority of your time, and see what else you can suggest for them to be able to make more money, and where you can potentially participate in that. All right. So did you have any career questions for us, Brandy?
Boomer Boy says, I'm struggling to figure out a side hustle. What are your thoughts on investing in a franchise? Not really the career.
That's the career section.
Okay.
And you know what? We're going to pick that question up on when we go live.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to cover that. And I'm happy he brought up franchises. That'll be a perfect thing for us to discuss. All right. So we want your questions from you. So anything that we didn't answer through here, we're going to go over to Facebook Live. We're going to go over to Instagram Live. All right. So please get ready to join us. But before we talk about that, one thing, don't sign off with me yet. Everybody should have already received their save. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. You're going to get it tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, you're going to get your save worksheet. And this is your prep work, not your homework, to get ready for our next session on save. And so with the save webinar, I just really want you to take a look at your priorities for saving. What's important to you, how much you want to save. So expect to get this tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. And then, of course, we're going to cover save next Wednesday, 8 p.m. So we'll be here to discuss that. Again, please follow us, Never Broke Nation, Janai Thornton on Facebook and Instagram, and on YouTube as well. And again, submit your questions to us. Right now, it is about 9 o'clock. So at 9:10, we're going to go live on Facebook and Instagram at 9:10. So we're going to take your current questions. We're going to talk about franchises and a few other things. Give us a few minutes to set up. And again, thank you for hanging out with us on a Wednesday night. And I'm not just grateful that you're here, but I really, really appreciate the commitment that you're making to yourself. Because I promise you, the more time you spend focused on money, your financial life is going to change. So from me, Janai Thornton and Never Broke Nation, thank y'all for tuning in to our second installment, our Make session. And we will see y'all next Wednesday at 7 p.m. so we can save some money together. Good night, everybody.